Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back. Today we are going to be doing some makeup. I don't know about you guys, but I've just been like really not feeling myself recently. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on with the planets or what's going on with the stars or what, but I've been not feeling myself recently. And I was watching The Holiday, which is that fantastic Christmas movie with Kate Winslet and Jack Black and Jude Law and Cameron Diaz that is all over the internet right now. And there's a line. I remember I watched it the other day, and there's a line in the movie where the one guy says to Kate Winslet, "You're living your life. The movie that is your life, you're living like the funny best friend rather than the main character." I remember I watched it and I was like, oh my God, that's what I feel like. So I'm trying to change my mindset after hearing that, and we're gonna start with the makeup. Today I want to do some very like main character energy makeup, which I know is a term that's been used a lot. Like that term has been around, right? Main character, but I want to feel good, and I want to portray that in my makeup. So that is what we are going to do today. I don't really know what look I'm gonna do. I have literally no idea, but we're just gonna make it up as we go along like we do with most of the looks here. So if that is something you are interested in seeing, let's go ahead and get started. So I did go ahead and I did prime my eyes already off camera. I used the MAC Painterly Paint Pot that I always use. This is my favorite eye primer. I'm gonna go in with this same palette that I just used in another one of my videos. This is the Be Perfect Carnival XL Pro palette that they did with Stacey Marie down here. This palette is full of possibilities. There is so much going on in this palette that I feel like I can figure something out. But honestly, what I feel like is gonna happen is I'm just gonna use all of these nude shades right here just because that's just who I am, honestly. I'll have like a giant colorful palette like this, but I'll use all of the neutral shades that are in here. But it is honestly just because this palette is so good. The formula is so good. There's not one bad shade in here, so I always feel very safe using this, even if it is just for neutral shades. I think I want to do a smoky liner. It's just what's coming through in my mind. So I'm going to start with this Lights Out shade, which is a black. And I'm going to take this Sigma E75, which is just a very sharp, like angled brush. And I'm kind of going to do like, I'm going to map out the liner with this Lights Out shade. And I'm going to go very close to this mirror. And we're just going to keep our eyes opened and kind of pull out this shadow. We're gonna create a shape with this black shadow. It doesn't have to be too precise because we are gonna smoke it out. So if it's not perfect, don't worry. Went ahead and I did the other side as well. And I kind of took my brush and connected the lower lash line down here and just pulled it up into the wing that we created. I like to remember that I am going to be cleaning this up with micellar water, so I'm not worried too much about how sharp and everything it is because I am going to be going and cleaning it up when we're done with this. But I think we are ready to move on to the next shade now, which is going to be Vex, I think, which is the shade right above it. It's like a gray brown color is the only way I can describe it. It's not fully brown and it's not fully gray. It's a very cool toned gray color. I'm going to take this Morphe M506 brush, which is my favorite to use, and I'm going to dip it into that Vex shade. And starting where I put that Lights Out shade, I'm going to work inside there and just blend inward. This is going to give us a nice gradient. And again, just pulling inward with this. I like to use this brush because it's very precise, but it's very like fluffy, so it's easy to blend stuff out with. The furthest that the shadow is going to go inward is like on the lash line, so just remember to keep that diagonal shape. So this is what we're looking like so far, just with those two shades. I could leave it here, but I feel like I want a little something extra, like in the inner corner and like on the lid. And I'm thinking I want to do a shimmer, but I just don't know which one. This Inspire one is kind of speaking to me because I feel like it'll just give some life to the eye look. I feel like the light will catch it very pretty and it'll complete the look. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use my finger for this, and I'm just gonna put it right down on the lid. I kind of like that. It's not like in your face. Gonna take the brush that I used for Vex and just kind of mesh the two. I like the way that looks. It's a very kind of like glossy, smoky liner. So I am gonna go ahead and clean up the edges. I'm gonna add some liner and then I'm gonna add some lashes too, I think. So I'm gonna go do that stuff and then I'll be right back and we can keep on chugging along with this tutorial. So I'll see you in just a second. Alright, eyes are finished. This is the final product for the eyes. I like the way it came out. It is just basic enough to give a little something, which is what I was going for. So we're going to go ahead and get started on base. Now I am going to be using this Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. It's what I have been loving recently. I'm going to use like that much. And I'm just gonna work from the T-zone out. Once that is sunk into the skin and making you look nice and airbrushed, we're going to go in with foundation. Foundation I'm going to use is the Dior Backstage foundation. I'm going to mix these two. This is the shade 3N and this is the shade 0N. I'm going to mix them to get kind of like my perfect shade that's going to match my neck. And I'm going to use a brush with this foundation just because I find that that's the best way and it gives the best finish. And I'm just going to use a face brush with this foundation. This one is from like a pack from Amazon, but you can use any foundation brush that works for you, or you can even use a sponge if that's what you want. I just prefer to use a brush because this is a thin foundation. It's very full coverage, but it's very thin. So I don't like to use a sponge because I feel like it soaks up a lot of the product. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my cream contour now and my blush. The cream contour that I have is this Fenty Matchstick Cream Contour. I use this all the time. I just love the way it applies and I love the shade. I love everything about it. It's what I have been picking up the most recently. I like to go right above the hollows of my cheeks and kind of just follow that with this product, because it gives me a nice snatched face. It's like subtle enough to act as like a shadow, you know? So it really makes you look like you have cheekbones. Gonna hit my forehead too, just because I want to shrink that down a little bit. This is definitely not like a cream bronzer like the Huda Tantour is. This is more of a cream contour. Like you're definitely gonna have to use bronzer on top of this. If you want to, you know, you totally don't have to, but I know that I'm gonna have to use bronzer on top of this. The blush I'm going to take today is this Liss Higher Standard Satin Matte Cream Blush in the shade Grateful. I'm gonna use this right now because it is a cream to powder blush, so I want to do it while everything is still kind of tacky. You know, I don't want to put it on top of powder. And I'm just gonna use my finger to really press this into the skin and melt it into the skin. This is a very effortless product. Like it looks like skin, you know, it doesn't look like you have something on top of your face. It's definitely a beginner friendly product because I feel like it's hard to go overboard with this. You know, I put a lot on this side and it doesn't look overdone at all. I'm gonna bring it down onto the cheeks as well and mesh it in with that cream contour we put down. Gonna go in with concealer now that all the other creams are down on the face. This is the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear All Over Concealer. Mine is in the shade 215. This concealer is kind of like the bar that I set other concealers up to. Like, this is the best that I'm gonna get, so I kind of use this as a comparison for every other concealer that I try. And we're just gonna hit underneath here, cover up those dark circles, and then I'm also gonna bring it down the center of the face. And I'll use my finger again. This is one of those products that it actually looks better if you use your finger. I don't really like using my fingers when it comes to my makeup. There's just something about it that aggravates me, and I don't like the way that it feels. And I'll even bring it a little bit over that blush to make everything look kind of seamless. Now that we have everything down, we're going to go in and set, and it is no surprise, but I am going to be using my One Size setting powder. This is the best. I'm not even going to talk about it because I talk about it in every makeup tutorial. Don't want to bore you again with the same spiel. But this is the best. If you have not tried it out, definitely pick up like at least a mini size so you can get a feel for it. But I'm just going to put some in the cap and then go in with this powder puff right here from Amazon and just hit underneath the eyes and down the center of the face. Basically everywhere that we put the concealer is where we're gonna put this powder. Those three face products together, the concealer, the foundation, and this powder are like, in my opinion, the trifecta. You know, and I have very oily skin, I have very textured skin, and I have big pores. So if you are someone like me, I highly recommend trying those things out. Even if you just get sample sizes of everything, I do not think you will be disappointed. I don't know yet if I want to use a powder blush, but I am going to go in and use a powder bronzer. This is the NYX matte bronzer in the shade Deep Tan. It's very red. This is a very warm bronzer, so it's not going to be for everyone. I find that if I go in with a light hand and kind of build it up, it looks really gorgeous on me, just because I do have, you know, my natural tan that I get from the sun is a very red tan, so it works for me. But just keep that in mind if you are thinking about picking this up. Like, do you guys see? That was the smallest amount. Do you see what I'm talking about? Like, it's super pigmented. I like to start up here because at least if things go sideways, the most pigmented part of my stroke is going to be in my hairline, and that I can cover up at least. But you want to take your time with this and use the lightest of hands. I am going to take a bit of powder blush. This is the e.l.f. Primer Infused Blush in the shade Always Rosy. And just with a little angled brush like this, I'm going to take smallest amount and right here apply it. I already have that list one down, so I don't want to go overboard with the blush. Also, the bronzer is like a big statement in itself, so I don't really want to interfere with that. Just a little something to bring some life back into the face. All right, I'm gonna go in and do my lower lash line before I go off camera and do my brows. And we're gonna hop back into our palette, and we are gonna take that lights out shade, that black shade, and on the same brush, that angled brush, we're gonna push it up against the lower lash line right here. I'm only gonna go like halfway in because that's what I'm comfortable with, and I feel like it's what flatters my eyes the most. And I'm gonna connect it up here so that it's all one continuous line out to the like wing out here. And then I'll take again the same brush, that Vex shade right here, which was the second one that we used, and I'm just gonna blow out that lights out shade ever so lightly. You want to be very careful when you use dark colors like these on the lower lash line because it can start to look like a black eye if you're not careful. So I'm using a very light hand and using really broad strokes. Just applied some mascara to the lower lashes, and now I am gonna hop off camera and do my brows really quick, and then I'll come back and we can finish up this tutorial with lips. So I'll see you guys in just a second. All right, we're gonna go in and do lips now. We're at the final stages of this makeup tutorial. I'm first gonna take this artist color pencil in the shade Wherever Walnut and just line my lips with this. I'm gonna go in and take this Milani lipstick. This is the Color Fetish or Lip Fetish, I forget what they're called. It's in the shade Pleasure. I'm gonna go with this because I love the way that it feels on my lips. The formula of this lipstick is really good. It's very hydrating. So here is the lipstick, and now I am gonna go in and do a bit of lip contouring. This is another artist color pencil. This one's in the shade Endless Cacao. Use this one all the time. I'm gonna go hit my Cupid's bow and the center of my bottom lip really quick. Once the lips are on, we are gonna go in and do the final step, which is of course to bring back my little birthmark right here. And to do that, I'll take this one size gel liner pencil in the shade Point Made, which is just a brown color. So here is the final look, you guys. I love the way it came out. It's so basic. This is such a basic look, but it's exactly what I was going for. You know, it's just very like effortless but beautiful main character energy makeup. I'm ready to take on the day and tackle the world. Makeup is so crazy that it can really just boost your mood. You know, not that like I didn't like myself before the makeup, it's just the makeup really helps you to feel like ready to take on the day sometimes. But I just love the way it came out. I love the way it looks. I love the way it makes me feel, and that is what's most important. So if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Make sure, if you have not already, that you are subscribed to my channel and that you hit the little bell so you are always notified when I upload a new video. Let me know what your main character energy makeup would consist of. A big lash, a sharp wing liner, a red lip. I would love to know, because I feel like everyone has a different idea. You know, this might be mine, but it might not be the same for someone else, so I would love to know. And I believe that is it for today's video, you guys. I hope that you all enjoyed. I know that I did, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.